Good day, students and viewers online. Here you have your teacher, your biology teacher, Alongeto Richards, for another episode, a virtual class like this again. Now, we are going to be considering the topic excretion. Excretion. Now, in a simple term, what does excretion mean? Now, in layman's language, excretion is simply the removal of wastes from metabolic activities. It is from the body to the externals, to the external environment or outside the body system, so that this waste will not become harmful to man. Now, once this starts to signal harm to the man, then definitely there is going to be a problem. So hence, there is a need for you to what? To remove these waste materials that are as a result of metabolic activities from the body. Now, what are these metabolic waste materials that we are to remove from the body? Number one, we are to remove urea, uric acid, and ammonia. Now, I will categorize this as nitrogenous waste. Actually, this is where we are going today. We want to see how urine is formed in the body. Do not forget that. Now, urea, uric acid, and ammonia. But it is also important for us to quickly take a look at the organs that are important in the removal of these waste materials in the body. Now, let's quickly list a few of these organs in the body. Now, number one, you have the skin. You have the skin. Number two, you can have gills. You can have green glands. Green glands. You can have a contractile vacuole. You can have contractile vacuole. You can have flame cells. Yes. Flame cells. These are very, very important too. Flame cells. You can also have your liver. You can have the lungs. You can have the lungs. You can have lenticels. This is another one too. You can have lenticels. You can have stomata. You can have stomata. You can have even your leaves. You can have your leaves. Now, then you can have the kidney, which is where we are going today. The kidney. Do not forget, I said we'll be looking at how urine is being formed in the body. Now, this is just a rundown of a few. There are others actually. Now, the skin, you find it in mammals. You find it in man, mainly man specifically. You find this in fish. Then, for the green glands, this is common in crustaceans. In crustaceans, e.g., you have your shrimp. Shrimps, yes. For the contractile vacuole, you have amoeba, or let me just say protozoans, yes. But a representative is amoeba species. For the flame cells, you have it for flatworms. Flatworms, and an example is planaria. Now, liver, yes, in man. Liver in man. Then lungs, you can find it in man too. In man. Then lenticels. Lenticels, you find these in woody plants. In woody plants, for example, you have your orange tree. Then you have your stomata. Stomata for vascular plants. Hibiscus is an example. Leaves. then definitely your leaves, you have it for plants. Then kidney, you have it in man. Let me just make it 12 to round it up. You can also have long book. Yes, long book is in spider. Spider, long book. Do not forget, spider is in the arachnida. Now, you see, these are organs of excretion in organisms. Now, here you can see that we have it for animals, for plants, as well as even lower organisms, for example, where you have contractile vacuole that does the work of excretion, removal of waste, removal of salt, osmoregulating the body, even in primitive organisms like amoeba, your protozoans. Now, the flame cells, yes, for the flatworms, do not forget. The long book, you have lungs, you have the lung for man, but you have the long book for spider. Now, let's go back to where we are coming from. I just quickly highlighted out the organs that are important for you to know. So please, even as we go ahead, if you have questions, kindly take a look at your screen, the number scrolling on the screen, as well as the email address. Forward your questions, and we'll treat them accordingly. Now, for the nitrogenous waste that you have in animals, most importantly in animals, you have it as urea, uric acid, and ammonia. Ammonia is a very, very toxic substance, and it needs a large volume of water for its dilution. Large volume of water is needed for dilution. So you find this in aquatic organisms that dwell in the water body. For uric acid, this is a very, very imminent in organisms that find a means of conserving water. Then you find it among birds that lay eggs, and the whitish substance that you find on the feces of these organisms, the birds, that is uric acid. Urea is very, very predominant in mammals, in animals like you and I. Now, and we are going to be taking a critical look at this today. Now, looking at the kidney, we've talked about this, how we're just picking the kidney as a case study for animals. Now, the kidney. The kidney is a bean-shaped organ that you will find in the body of a man. Now, you can see what we are going to be showing you. You will say, what is this? What is on projecting in? Definitely we are going to show you and tell you what these things mean and what they are. Now, this is a bean-shaped structure, a sketch of your kidney. And in this kidney, you have three main parts in the kidney. Number one, you have the cortex. Number two, you have the medulla. Then number three, you have the pelvis. The cortex, the medulla, and the pelvis. Now, here, this is the renal vein. And here you have the renal artery. Here you have the ureter that empties into the urethra. And here is your pelvis. And here, this is your cortex. And here, the inner portion is the medulla. Now, the renal vein, the renal artery, the cortex, the medulla, pelvis, and the ureter. Now, the renal vein, as the name implies, you have the vein, you have the artery. You know, the function of the vein is to take blood. Now, this one is deoxygenated blood away. Now, here, the renal artery brings in blood into the kidney, circulates it round, and the kidney, it's important for us to also tell you that the kidney is a highly vascularized organ, supplied with blood. Supplied with blood. And why is this blood coming in? It needs to be filtered. It needs to remove the excesses of, the drugs you take, the waste, the toxins that are present in this blood. It needs to filter it out and send it to the necessary areas it is needed in the body. Now, when this blood comes in, the oxygenated blood comes in here, it enters into this particular organ, gets filtered, and goes out again. But the waste materials here now is now removed through a special process and emptied into the ureter that goes into the bladder for storage. Then it leads to the external, which we refer to as the urethra.